we're England. This is who we are. This is what we stand for.
Hill Dickinson. It's a sellout. It's back up north.
Have an attitude and a psyche that is going to deliver a performance.
We need to get the crowd on side. You know, we get 50,000 patriotic English fans there screaming. That could make a huge difference.
Get a bit of a Vindaloo chant going.
Welcome to Rivalry Reignited, a podcast brought to you in the build-up to the Ashes and throughout the Ashes by Movember. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. If you have, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We've had some good, some bad, some indifferent. For those of you who are joining this to watch James Graham has pulled out. So leave now or stop watching now if that's the reason that you're here. Of course, I'm joking. James Graham is here and he's alongside Adrian Morley. Two of the best to do it. Welcome, chaps. How are we?
Doing well, thanks, John.
Great.
I think this is our first time working together
apart from the weekend.
Since the weekend, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Right, good. Did you have a good time at the weekend, James?
Not really. I was babysitting.
Right, cool.
Yeah. After the test, I was disappointed, and then, some things change, some things don't. And Jon Wilkin, after 8 to 10 Guinness, the battery pack was out.
Yeah.
And very sloppy.
Very sloppy.
Very sloppy.
I think
very immature. Lots of apologies to door staff and other members of the public that were trying to enjoy some liquid refreshment. But we put you to bed.
It was a good night. Good night. We had Moz, you were meant to join us. Can we say this? You were meant to join us. Jamie Peacock had organised post-match refreshments.
I was meant to join you, but I got a bit giddy at the game. And
what does that look like?
I caught with my old coach Ricky Shute was in the lounge, so we got a bit excited, and we didn't end up going into the city of London, but I thought it was a great, really impressive crowd there. The build-up was great. The performance was a bit disappointing, but it was still a great weekend to go down and cheer the English on.
Yeah, so we'll get on to that first performance. James, you're over here on a tour. Talk to us. What does that mean?
So I'm doing a bit of work for a travel company called Rugby League Experience. So about 150 Aussies that I'm sort of
so smug right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're pretty happy with it. Lots of questions around was that England's best. I think the interesting thing is England need to improve. Australia will. But yeah, the Australian fans that I'm here with, that they're feeling very confident that they can get it wrapped up this weekend. Yeah,
of course, very confident going into the second test. I just wanted to talk about the build-up to the first test. I've got some thoughts on how England build up or how they maybe approach that first test. They were heavy underdogs, weren't they, Moz, going into it?
Yeah, Australia are the best team in the world, the world champions. Just the fact England have done well the last couple of years. You know, there was a lot of hope from the English public. There's been a tremendous amount of interest in this series, the first Ashes series for over 20 years. It's been fantastic. The ticket sales have been great. But you're right, Australia were favourites, and the scoreline probably reflected how they are in the world standings at the moment. I think Australia weren't great, but England weren't great either. So I think they were there for the taking in that first test. But to be fair, at half time, I was still confident England could cause an upset. I think they bombed 3 chances, England, and there was only 8 points down. But they need to take them chances against anyone, but particularly Australia. They didn't do, and when Australia scored first that second half, it was unfortunately only one winner then.
Yeah, I think for me, where most of us thought the game was going to go, we were led by the evidence of, all right, the last time out, Mars, you were there in 2003. Every game by Australia was won by less than 6 points in that 3-game series, and it all was won by Australia in the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were only behind for less than 10 minutes in the three.
So we've got that as our last memory as
22 years ago,
and that's what's being driven as part of the build-up. Then let's go back to the last time England played Australia, that 6-0 final in the World Cup, and so that's what's being drip-fed to the public. Now, in between that, there's been Great Britain beat them in 2006. Australia have put on some big scores against the English in that time. We've been close as well. But what was ingrained in the memory of English and British rugby league fans was the 03 series and the 17 World Cup. Yeah. So we're expecting a close contest. Yeah. And that didn't happen. And even when we look at, for NRL fans, the intensity of the final series, those games have been phenomenal. It has been like...
It was different watching, wasn't it?
Recency bias aside, it was one of the best final series you're likely to see, and some of the stars on display. So we've got all these ingredients there that are giving us the expectation of a contest that's going to be a 9 or a 10 out of 10. And as a contest, put allegiances aside, it wasn't a great spectacle or a great contest, being completely honest.
It didn't deliver, did it, Moz, in that sense? It was a good game. The first half, as you said, was competitive, but both sides probably didn't deliver test match performances, did they?
No, I mean, England or Great Britain, as they were, always did really well in the first test. Australia were perhaps a bit scratchy, with the travel and not used to the weather, things like that. And they were, Australia, but England were uncharacteristically scratchy in that first test. I thought, if we're going to get the Aussies, it'll be, the first test at Wembley. So both sides were scratchy. And you're right, Jam, if you look at the final series in the NRL and even in the UK, it wasn't final series intensity really. So I think both teams are going to improve. They'll have to improve dramatically. England, if they've got a chance of getting anything from the second test.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about how England approached the build-up. We're in a different era now. Everything's videoed, everything's recorded. Things that are said pre-match. Now, I'm not one of those people that necessarily subscribes to the ammunition that you can give opposition before a game, and whether it's impactful or not. We often. I've been in change rooms where we've used things said against us or about us. I thought our messaging as a team, we got it wrong going into the first game. We should have played the underdog heavy. And what we did is we told Australia, 1, they were going to underestimate us, 2, that we were going to catch them off guard, and that 3, we were going to deliver something that they weren't expecting or didn't believe we could do. And I think that was tactically really naive to do that. In-house, you can say those things. I think in-house, if it was in our changing room, say those things. But when you put that out there, if you think that Walters and Cleary and Munster aren't going to be aggravated by that, I think we should have heavily leveraged Jammer being the underdogs and it being a remarkable thing to beat them.
Yeah, embrace that tag. Look for me, some of the greatest examples of that. Look, I'm in the thick of it in the Australian media. And that's what the famous Queensland spirit that they talk about. Yeah, like New South Wales. Moz, even think back to your time. Like New South Wales on paper should win a lot of those series, but like it. And I think England should look to that, adopt that
Queensland spirit.
We're England. I remember Coach Slater. Like after a loss, he's like, "We're still Queensland." And he got ridiculed by New South Wales media for it. But it's like, no, we're England. This is who we are. This is what we stand for. And I don't like all this like identity sort of stuff. What's your team ID? What's your team DNA? Like, I mean, it's made up, isn't it? Really, we're playing a made up game with made up rules. But have an attitude and a psyche that is gonna deliver a performance. Like I think back to some of my times in different teams, and you talk there, Wilco, about the overdoing of things versus the underdoing of things, and sometimes at this level, like less is more. I know Coach Christian Wolf, who in that last game in the grand final in 2020, he showed us one video clip in the preparation for the biggest game of the year.
Please tell me it was Alan Partridge.
No, it wasn't. But that's sometimes all you need.
Yeah, true. But that mentality of being an underdog and embracing it, Moz, did we get that wrong, do you think? Because we were telling Australia that we're going to come and give it to them.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, this Australia team is world champions. England or Great Britain have not been favourites for any test match against the Aussies for 50 years. So why should they suddenly be favourites this year when you could look at the the NRL's improved dramatically over the last couple of years. Arguably, Super League's decreased in quality. So why are we suddenly favourites? Against the against.
But that would wind them up, surely.
Yeah.
If they're hearing that we even thought we could compete with them. Do you know, that's where I think we missed a trick. We could have heavily sold it on.
Yeah, talk them up,
a whitewash,
talk us
3-0. Every time we got asked about their star players in press, in media, our players refuse to reference any. They've got star players, but so have we. I would have retrospective hindsight. It's wisdom, isn't it? Now, I mean, going Reece Walsh, what a player he is. If we get hands on Nathan Cleary, we've done a great job. Cam Munster, wow, what a player. And I thought we did the opposite.
It is funny though, Wilco, because you can fall into the trap of feeling like you don't belong out there, and it's a difficult job, and we're here with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, of course.
We're coaches without the team. I should have done this, but there's also an element that Sean Wayne needs to drill into his players that you will actually belong. And I thought at half time, maybe there was a realization, the penny drops that. Hang on a minute. These invincible players, we've created 3 genuine opportunities here. We've not finished them off, but we've been putting them on such a pedestal for so long now. Yeah. So it's not as cut and dry as that. I can see both sides to it, but Wayne is the coach.
Yeah.
And he hangs his hat on how his approach is with his players.
Yeah, but I'm all for what's internal messaging. I don't think internally you're talking about how good their team is. I think internally you're breaking them down. I just think externally, the noise that you make now, look, there's a documentary camera in your face. It's so hard. I agree. It's so hard to get it right in that situation. But talking of belonging then, that sense of that you belong in that environment. Moz, was there ever a time in your career where you didn't feel like you belonged in that environment?
Yeah, the first time I got picked for England, 96. I was only 19, and I was in the presence of Andy Farrell and Dennis Betts and all these superstars who I grew up idolising. And for the first couple of years in international camp, I did feel like an imposter. What am I doing here? The penny dropped when the following year I played against the Aussies. Actually, we got beat in the first test at Wembley. So this could be an ominous sign. Second test, it was at Old Trafford. I was come off the bench at Wembley, but the second test at Old Trafford I started, and we beat the Aussies at Old Trafford, going up against my hero Gordon Tallison. We got a famous victory. But then, having played the game, and I felt as though I made a bit of an impact as well. Yeah. So that's when I thought, right, I belong on the international stage. But you're right, for a couple of years, you feel, what am I doing here? I'm only young, and this should be later on in my late 20s, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, we went down to Wembley, and it was quite a heavy loss. To be fair, it was, I think they put 30 or 40 past us. Darren Lockyer was, I think it was his first Test series.
He was unbelievable, wasn't he?
He was. I caught with him at the weekend, actually. And
could you understand him?
Yeah,
he needs a lozenge, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got his talks like this. He got a elbow in his throat, but
sounds like one of those James Bond villains, isn't it? Yeah. Dr. No.
Vocal cords. but yeah, having got our tails whooped at Wembley, we bounced back. So hopefully, we can repeat the feat. But yeah, that was when I thought, yeah, this is where I belong.
Now you're talking my language. I hope not.
What about you, Jammer? Belonging? I understand what you're saying. You've got to try to balance between building the Australians up and believing that you can play against them. My question to you is that not based in insecurity then? Because for you, Moz,
Jesus,
you
sounds like my
you belong
therapy sessions I'm having here.
Yeah,
is this you feel like you don't belong, James?
James, let's go back to your childhood. Yeah. Make you cry.
Family of origin. Ooh.
No, insecurity in as much as that you've got to convince them that they're good enough. I believe that you two, looking at you both, it maybe took your time, Moz, and same with you, Jammer. But once you were there, once you're on the international stage, you were more than comfortable. Hence why you went down to Australia, both of you, and smashed it, because you felt comfortable in that environment. Is it not an insecurity to feel like you have to fluff people up to feel like they belong there?
It's a tough question to answer.
You're on a podcast, Jamie. You can answer.
You need proof. You need evidence. And for those players, look, some of them do ply their trade in the NRL. We've got some that have dominated the final series in the Super League. Like, look at Mikey Lewis.
Unreal,
or what he did at Hull KR to have a team to go to the Challenge Cup final, then to back that up, win the league leaders, then to back that up again and win. Like,
okay, it's a different.
He's got some evidence there. He's got evidence from the Tonga test, the Samoa test, but
it's a different question. Then my question should have been: does it require a different level of confidence to go up against Australia?
Well,
in a three-test series?
for a lot of them, it's the unknown.
Of course, yeah.
Like, it's an unknown territory. Like, yeah, the dimensions of the field are the same, and it's a game of rugby, same rules. But I imagine for a lot of these players, most of what they would see from NRL would be highlights, and that's certainly when I was coming through. Yeah, I'd watch NRL games, but a lot of it was just highlight reel stuff, and you can be like, oh my, is that what? And even when you're watching the build up to the game, you show Australia's best bits, like, watch out for Reece Walsh. It's like, does he do that every touch? It's like, no, he made 3 errors. Was it 2 or 3 errors he made on the weekend? Like, he makes mistakes. Like, and that's what I'm talking about, that first 40 minutes and even in the 80 minutes. It's like, well, you need that evidence because you've been to that territory. You find out that, they do make incorrect decisions in defence. If we put them under fatigue, if we play with the right strategy, and even let's go into the England camp about how they push forward. Let's break down the tries. Let's go. Okay, the first try from Reece Walsh. Well, Wardle, you've got to take Reece Walsh out of the support there.
Yeah,
because he had an opportunity to tackle him to the ground.
Yeah,
and these are some of the finer details of coaching where Reece Walsh was allowed to pass and then allowed to support. You don't allow him to do that.
Yeah. And
then you could look at was there a potential forward pass in the mix there?
Yeah, yeah.
Then you look at the Crichton run on last. Well, Wellesby or whoever's fullback, you need to do better. The Reece Walsh break, which led to a lot of the field position. Like, so that there are things, and then we look at our game around some of the opportunities. Well, we know next time we're in a 2-on-1 situation with Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
You've got to anticipate that he's going to check and release.
Yeah.
So you've got to change your angle that you approach to draw and pass, or you've got to be flirting with the dummy. You've got to be
with the dummy.
You've got to show and go.
Yeah, on those, I thought Australia, Moz, what they did really well is they sort of built into it, didn't they? They worked great. But then when they got opportunities, they really isolated Mikey Lewis and George Williams. That three in defensive position, they got them stretched. There's a lot of quality in their ball movement in there. Cam Munster was exceptional.
Yeah.
Cleary was sort of like a captain in cricket at first slip. But Munster and Reece Walsh opened the baton and scored the winning runs. He didn't have to do too much, but he was organising. And then Reece Walsh blew the game a bit. There's so much quality in that trio of players, isn't there?
There is, and they were clinical. So we talked about England, the chances in the first half. They didn't take them. Every opportunity Australia got, they took them, and they were off. They were a bit scratchy, but they will improve. But it's up to England now to improve greater than the Aussies. So, but you're right. There's a lot of quality in that side, and as I say, they took the chances.
It's a different game if we score one, two of those. If we score those two opportunities, it's 12-point swing in the first.
Confidence, half. And you go in at half time, and that we've said. They're not Superman. That we build them up, and then I think that would have given him a lot more confidence. But then, when they did score second half, the Aussies, I think England's head dropped a bit. They still tried hard all game as you would expect, but I think the damage was done then. But they just need to regroup, get back out there, and see where it takes them second test.
What was the most disappointing thing, do you reckon, Jammer, about England's performance?
Well, missed opportunities.
Yeah.
You look back and we've all played in those games, and you think, like just those little moments that you go, like we could have got them, that opportunity to play Australia with respectfully their level of performance. I don't know if we're going to get that level again.
Right.
So we're going to have to play. We would have had to play better to beat that level of Australian performance, but that Australian performance now is going to rise.
Yeah.
And is going to increase.
So let's say both teams were a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
To beat Australia 6 out of 10, we need to be an 8 or 9 out of 10.
9, yeah.
So if Australia go to 8 or 9 out of 10, we've got to be a 10 out of 10 to beat them.
Well, this is where the tactics and the moments really matter.
I think the crowd was a really healthy crowd. I was dead impressed with.
It was a record-breaking crowd.
Record-breaking crowd, fantastic for the game, fantastic for the Ashes, but the crowd got quietened down by the lack of England taking the chances, and then once the Aussie got in front, I think if we'd have took one or two of them chances, the crowd would have made an absolute huge difference. That's why the second test is so important for the crowd. We need to get the crowd on side. If England can get an early try, we get 50,000 patriotic English fans there screaming. That could make a huge difference.
Make it a cauldron.
It was a strange atmosphere.
It was a very
Wembley was a strange atmosphere. I came away from the game being confused because I felt like, right, this is a big historical event. Like 22 years we've waited to play Australia again. It's Wembley. It's a record crowd. And after being at Old Trafford for the grand final, it felt flat.
Yeah,
it did.
Why?
Well,
England was kept to 0 for 75 minutes. That played a part. Plus, Wembley's that big. You forget how big it is.
Is it too big?
Well,
for us.
Well, if you look, 60,000. Whether there was 60,000 there or just 60,000 tickets sold, it's by the by. But it didn't look half full to me. There might have been people who missed the game or weren't there. But I was looking around thinking it's great that they've sold 60,000 tickets, but it's not full really. So. It was still great. It was still great to go and play in the national stadium, but we just need to fill it really.
Yeah, your thoughts?
You could make a case for Tottenham or the Emirates to play the game at, or keep it up north. Like why was the game at Wembley to capture the expats?
Traditional, that's where they played.
When you played in 03. You went Wigan,
Wembley,
Hull,
went
Huddersfield.
Like
sellouts. How many times?
There's an Etihad Stadium that holds 50. That would be perfect.
How many times? Oh, we're doing this for Australians. Well, you come to play England. You've got to make life as difficult as possible.
Play them at Dewsbury.
Play them at Batley on that slope.
Get Reece Walsh ankle deep in mud.
Workington.
That's what I'd love to see.
Play them
Reece Walsh at Featherstone.
What's wrong with Featherstone?
Nothing's wrong with Featherstone.
Well, why did you bring it up?
Well, Reece Walsh is a very glamorous guy.
What's wrong?
There's nothing wrong. It's working class. It's humble. It's exactly what we're saying about being English.
Yeah. Well,
stop. We're not from London, are we?
But part of it is like, it's more of a let's bring Australia over, and we're going to put them in London, and they play got to make life as difficult as possible, uncomfortable as possible, and we get to capture that expat community or the Kiwis and Aussies, and there was a lot of Australian representation there.
There was a lot, yeah, there was.
And I know that there's been a lot come over, but what's going to help us win? Playing at the Etihad or somewhere up north, or playing there, or even playing like at Huddersfield or Hull. And I know it's a business, and I get all that. But if I don't know who organised it, but if we're organising it, play them where we're going to have a better opportunity to fill the stadium and then therefore win.
Yeah, I don't think I've been at Wembley and felt like the atmosphere's been incredible.
Well, and also
for a long,
to be fair,
for a while.
It's hard for England fans because there's not the regularity of fixtures aren't like they are with football. So there's not the songs and the tribalism.
But we have a problem with international sport. I'd say international football. I don't think we really have a really strong, passionate our club sport's so tribal, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're so cynical and support our club so much. And each club has their own identity, and it's stronger than our national identity. And then when we come together for England, what does everybody, 60,000 people in Wembley, what's their thing? And I've said this before. We don't have a chant.
Don't have a chant, no.
We don't have whenever Australians come over to play here, what's the one thing that they reference that makes it feel cool to play over here? It's the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah.
The English fans.
Yeah.
But we totally eradicate that by not having regular international fixtures, by not really having an identity or a chant.
Get a bit of a Vindaloo chant going.
100%.
Get a bit of Vindaloo.
Yeah. But you were quite good at the old chants, Jammer.
Where on earth are you from? Where from? England? Where you come from? Do you put the kettle on? Doom, 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 doom. Na na na.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah,
Get that booming out. Get people to get involved.
Yeah. I think
Like-
that's what we need. So come up with one. You're an
I
expert.
just have.
There you go. What Vindaloo? But that's that you just rehashed an old. It's already
It's
exists.
England, though.
All right, we'll get on ChatGPT and
We'll work one out.
sort it out for you. But Vindaloo is a classic.
Right, it is a classic. That's the first test. So first test was disappointing, but there's rays of hope. Going on to the second test now at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. As we said, like it's in the north. It's a sellout. Like a lot of that feels great. It's do or die.
Yep, no second chances. It's best out of three. So I think there will be a massively improved England performance. I really do. I mentioned the crowd, that could be invaluable. So I'm looking forward. Really impressive stadium there, and looking forward to seeing the stadium. Obviously looking forward to watching the boys go. And yeah, I think they've got a performance up the sleeve.
Yeah, some pressure on Sean Wayne to ring changes. It's inevitable, isn't it? I suppose in sport, team doesn't perform, coach gets probably pressurised to make changes. How much do you think he should or shouldn't? Should he stick with? Is it not too early to be ringing changes? One week in,
I know, but you only get three goes at this, John. Well,
I
two
know.
really.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
He feels if changes will improve the performance. So it is pretty tough, but that's the level they're at now. If they don't perform,
Right. Any surprising exclusions, James?
Well, that's pressure of not just coaching, but also playing. You don't own that jersey. Look, I want to lay it on the table. My bias is towards Jack Welsby. Like, I played with him. I was surprised at his performance. I know he's better than that, and I can understand why he's not in the matchday squad. But on a personal level, I think he should have stayed. Personally, but I acknowledge my biases and my friendship with Jack.
Yeah.
But I understand why Coach Wayne has gone in a different direction.
So
I do think, though, we need to be careful with too much overhaul, especially in the spine. Like, unless the changes are forced, try and keep as much as that spine together. So Welsby's out of the matchday squad, and Harry Smith has come in. So we've definitely got a change at fullback happening.
So Brimson's going to come in. AJ Brimson's going to play fullback.
It would appear, unless he takes a chance and puts Farnworth there.
Yeah, I can't see that. I understand getting him on the ball and playing him on the ball. It's just a nuanced position.
Brimson hasn't played a lot of fullback at the Titans this year.
So why is there such a clamour to get Brimson in the team then? If he's second, third choice at Gold Coast in the position that he plays, we've got Jack Welsby. This is my point, who has been one of our standout players in our competition, who is a fullback. Like, why are we all of a sudden?
When he has had the opportunity to play at fullback in the NRL, he's been very, very good.
Yeah.
So the coach feels he can add a bit of zip and oomph, but well, that's why he's the coach.
Yeah, it's a big call,
it's
isn't
a massive call.
Yeah, that's all. It's a big call. The other chat is then Mikey Lewis, Harry Smith, isn't it? Is your suggestion is if Brimson goes to fullback, Jammer, that then you'd be reluctant to maybe tinker with that, so you'd keep Lewis in the team? Yeah,
I would, and I think Lewis has done enough. He's done enough he's got enough runway. He's got runway for another game
from his performances in 2025, as opposed to Jack Welsby, whose form's been indifferent.
Yeah, and that's probably the difference in making that call. Like, Jack's had a tough year for a multitude of reasons in and out of his control, and that's affected him. So I think he's with that lack of form, you can see why Wayne's made that decision. But for I think with Mikey Lewis, he's got enough runway there to keep his spot.
Yeah. But you bring Harry Smith into the squad, he's not going to go on the bench, is he?
No, I think he'd start. Mikey's got a bit more versatility, so you might put Mikey on the bench, but it'll be interesting to see what his 17 is.
Yeah, I mean you're right. It's the challenge of coaching at this level, isn't it? Whether you sort of back yourself, I suppose, and you say that the squad that I picked, the first team that I picked was the one, is the spine that I'm going with, or you bring the changes.
And also, look, we look at some of the bigger moments like of the game, like Crichton's his first try rather. Or the try where they ran on last and Jack appears to back off, and we look at the stats and go, oh well, Jack's not really contributed here, but Sean Wayne will have instructed his players to display certain traits and certain things that's what he'll be looking at. So there's some assignment things there that Sean would have asked his fullback to do, and if he's missed a number of them, then that's probably why he's not playing.
Yeah,
so I don't think it's not necessarily those couple of bits of information that we just spoke about.
Yeah, and then up front, Moz, what did you make of England? You know, through the middle of the field. You know how they went. Australia, it seemed, didn't it? 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the game there. The Australia were a bit scrappy, and we were sort of physically taking it to them. The game felt slow. We were getting off our line.
Yeah, nothing in it.
Yeah,
you know, in that first 20 minutes, and you know, it was 8-0 to the Aussies, but we mentioned the missed chances by England. So I thought they competed really well that first half. They needed to kick on again in the second half, but then it went away from us really. So they just need what they did the first half, improvement certainly, but they need to take that to the full 80 minutes for second test.
Do you know, I was super confident like going into the game, and I was chatting to Moz before. I was confident until Australia came out to warm up, and they warmed up right next to the studio position on the pitch, and you're around these guys, and I'm around the guys in Super League, and not to build them up, but they looked better conditioned, like bigger, stronger. They looked like huge, especially through the middle. Tino, and like, you know, you don't appreciate how big he is until you're near him, do you? They've got some great athletes, Jam.
Yeah, of course they do, and the lads know that. Like, but Herbie Farnworth, who's in that England side, would be able to articulate to his players that, look, the strengths and weaknesses, and it's about playing the long game. And when you get your opportunity, we've got to take it. So Australia, a number of times on the weekend, coming out of yardage, made mistakes.
Yeah.
So what do England then do? Make another mistake. You know, then we start to apply a bit of pressure. We get a repeat set. Short drop out, Australia get it back. These are the little moments.
Yeah.
So I think to try and wrap up what happened in that first test is we weren't a million miles away. Like, we left some opportunities and some points out there.
Yeah.
There are some things that we could apply ourselves a little bit better and stop some tries. And we've got a contest on our hands. And that's when those fine margins, which, again, goes down to the last 10, as history has shown us, Australia usually take it out. But what are we going to do when we're in that situation? What is Mikey Lewis and George Williams and Darryl Clark going to do in that situation? They might have figured it out.
Yeah. How confident was going into the second test?
Well,
Hill Dickinson, it's a sellout. It's back up north. Like, there's a lot of lessons to be learnt from test one.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a danger, isn't there? I think maybe the challenge is actually Australia had some lessons to learn as well. But how confident are you that we can get something done?
I think they're going to be a massively improved England. It's do or die. This is the, you know, if you get beaten the second test, that's the series gone. So knowing Sean Wayne is going to get the boys motivated and fired up, and I think they're going to go out there and give it the best. And I think I'm confident they're going to snatch a victory.
It's very patriotic, James.
Are you not confident yourself, Joe?
No, I'm just hosting this, so I just sitting on the fence. I'm allowing you two to
have an opinion.
No, I do. Yeah, no, I felt confident about test one, Wembley, historic. You know, the 90s. As a kid, I remember, you know, Great Britain snatching, whether it's Malreilly, Ellery, you know, the game that you mentioned, you know, I always remember us doing well there. So I felt like there was some historical reasons for us to be great. Maybe catching them off guard. I thought we oversold catching them off guard publicly. Jammer, what you talk about is coming actually down to execution.
Yeah, there's elements of execution, but then it maybe in terms of that emotion, you know, the sentiment from the English media, the English fans is we're done. Maybe trying to leverage that, crowbar into that a little bit, and well, are you gonna accept that? Are you gonna prove them right, or are you gonna showcase something different? Because I guarantee you this: England win game 2, and they'll all be loving you.
Oh yeah.
You know, we can play a little game. We'll just knock it back. We want to be the hated. We want to be the underdogs, and that will happen. It is very fickle. The industry that we're in, very reactive.
Of course.
And maybe just Sean Wayne needs to tap into that, as well as some minor details in execution and game plan.
There'll be plenty to go at, Moz, with the Australian press, won't there?
Yeah, the Aussie press, even some of the English press have wrote us off. But I don't think that was a true reflection of how good England can be.
I'm with you on that, Mark. Yeah,
no, I think there's a lot more in our tank.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be very, very good. We mentioned the Aussies ominously, they're going to improve as well. But I just think backs against the wall, it's a do or die. Huge crowd there at Everton. I think they've got a good chance.
Yeah, fantastic. Look at the shirt. You see the shirt behind you, James? What does the pattern on it remind you of?
Poppies.
It's a Remembrance Day shirt celebrating the armed forces, and I think it's important, you know, when we're talking about Remembrance Day and actually about the armed forces, is I've heard you say this, James. Often in sport we compare like
going to war
or a battlefield, and that language actually is a bit clumsy because it is nothing like the sacrifices that people have made in our armed forces, is it?
No, it isn't. And I don't think until you go and visit these historical places, you can actually even begin to grasp what was going on there.
So where have you been, James?
Recently, on the way over with that touring party with Rugby League Experience, went to Gallipoli, which is a very significant place for Australian and New Zealand ex-servicemen and women. Like those lads had no chance.
So it was horrendous.
Going into that Anzac Cove, couple of miscalculations, poor decisions, just fodder. Went to one of the war. We went to the Anzac Cove Memorial, and then into the museum. And something that stuck with me is the diary entry of a soldier, and he wasn't doing this reflecting on the war. He was doing it while he was at war, and he says war is futile. They were actually communicating with their fellow man and trading chocolate and cigarettes whilst they were trying to kill each other. And these soldiers, they had hats on, not helmets, which is just, And then Wayne took us, Wayne Bennett, when we were with England, we got the schedule, and on it after the first warm-up game was a trip to France and Belgium. What's this? We're going to Tyne Cotton, Meningate, and Damien, who does a little bit of work with the RFL in the RAF. He took us over there and to these two places, and you just can't imagine. You just this is
humbling or emotional.
To your soul in a language that you just don't understand. You are just there, that going, what on earth were these lads thinking about in their final moments? Like and then Damien talks to us, and we're there, the England boys, and you know we're using a military phrase, we're in shell shock. We've got the 1,000-yard stare happening, and he spoke to us about in World War One, the fact that there was about 30 rugby league players. They went and they didn't come back. They were just like us.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't believe it. We were like, what? Imagine that, like being in the dressing room. What happened to?
Where's Jack Wellesby?
Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah.
And
do you think that it's because it's been such a long period of sort of peace, right now, that genuine sacrifice that was almost not commonplace, but because of the conflict around World War I and World War II, we've sort of, it's important to remember that, isn't it? That is genuine sacrifice. Yeah. It's not like getting up early to get to training. Do you know what I'm saying? Where we talk about sacrifices, there's somebody giving their life for the armed forces.
I think that England do it really well. Remembering Sunday, I know they do it in Australia.
Yeah, Anzac Day.
Plus every Legion you go in at 6 o'clock every day. They get up and what's it called?
At the RSL they ask everybody take their hat off, stand up, put your meal down, get off the pokies, and they play the last post and the the name escapes me, but the going down of the sun. We will remember them lest we forget. Every day at the RSLs, and there's some beautiful ones.
Every day,
6 o'clock.
Yeah,
wow.
They make you and people are in the middle of eating, they stop and do it, and it's they play that last post and the ode. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember what it is, but it's a very timely reminder in those places that what these men and women were paying the ultimate price. And look, there are lessons to be learnt there for sporting teams that fundamentally come down to mateship and having each other's back. And when you're in the shit, like, you just go through it together.
Yeah.
Like the consequence isn't the same, but when you're in the shit, we're just gonna have to accept this, aren't we, Moz? And we're gonna have to push through. We're just gonna get. We've got each other's back here.
Yeah, we'll get on together. Yeah. Well, that's we went down to the Marines when we were at St Helens and did a Marine camp, and I was always blown away by what their motto was. On all the material. The Marines, and I was thinking it's going to be something about aggression, fighting, and it's not. It's cheerfulness in adversity.
Right,
and I was like, get these guys taking the war to opposition, in deep in opposition territories, and their motto is about cheerfulness in adversity.
Enjoy that bite on the shit sandwich.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's pretty much.
I'll have a bigger bite than you.
Yeah. We'll just keep going at it.
Let's just chew on down and just push through.
Yeah.
I'll laugh.
Great, James. Thank you for that. This is a podcast that's brought to you by Movember. So I wanted to chat a couple of things. One is identity, right? Because you two both have such a strong and big identity that was wrapped around your sports careers. And I was listening to a song on the way here. It's by a guy called Sam Fender, and there's a lyric in one of his songs, and it says, "I don't walk in the shoes I used to walk in." It made me think about, well, somebody like yourself, Moz, and you, Jammer, who had big sporting personalities, but then have to sort of move on from that. And just how did you deal with that, Moz? That sort of big identity that you have, and then you almost. It's not gone, but you almost lose it to an extent.
To be fair, I was quite happy to leave that behind. I loved my time playing rugby league, but I'd had enough. I was 38 when I retired, so that's old enough for anyone. I was happy not to train anymore, not to play anymore. But
was it that's it? You were done.
That was it. Yeah, I was done. Yeah, and I still look on my time very fondly and very proud of the career. But that was then. This is now. So quite happy just to cut ties and. Thankfully, you do get remembered for the things you did. But if no one remembered us, I wouldn't be bothered. It'd be quite nice in a way.
Yeah, just to drift into insignificance.
Yeah.
Jammer?
Oh, look, very grateful for my time being a professional athlete. Like, I think it's the best life. Like, of all the paths that I could have gone down.
This is the most productive.
Definitely the most.
Because you're a Scouse redhead with Cumbrian background, right?
That's like, mate, it was a ton of fun. it was hard. It was challenging. It was depression, obsession. It was everything, and then it's not the same. And then I don't know. Sometimes, like when it's a strange life being an athlete, and you don't want any sympathy. You're not looking for sympathy when you say this, but you can feel like your race is run. Like I've run my race now. Like what
Oh
next? Yeah. Like
what else am I going to achieve
like
that's greater than what I've done?
I'll never experience those moments again. Don't get me wrong. I'll have fun and I'll have meaningful things, but it won't be the same.
No.
And it's obviously that exposure to that and
this euphoric highs that you just life. It's tricky, that, isn't it? Because the euphoric high throws you into sort of desperate low as well. Whereas life just does. You know what the hard thing about?
Where am I going to get my fix from?
Yeah, but
it's a massive fix that it's like you get that shot in your arm each and every week.
And are you addicted to that?
Yeah,
dopamine.
Of course you are.
The rush of it.
That's why so many players go off the rails in the off season because they're just looking for a fix. It's an attraction to danger as well. Like we engage in dangerous behaviour, risky behaviour, that we train ourselves to be calculated to get over that risk. Like Mars, you think about like you and your playing, it was dangerous, it was risky. Like what are you going to feel that? You just think you turn it off. Like it's, for me, it wasn't easy.
I think that should be the motto. It should be like a job advert for rugby league players. You're into risky behaviour. Try rugby league. But you could switch that off, Moz. You could just switch that off. You could be like, you could be violent, an enforcer, boom, boom, boom. Off season, just like whatever. I'll leave it.
Before games, quite happily, quite cheerful, and then as soon as it's ready to switch it on, So it's funny the amount of people I've had conversations with, and I can see them looking at me and said, "Oh, you're not like expected at all. I thought you'd be like a nutter, but you're all right." Actually, I said no, because they just see you.
So people, but that, isn't that a mad thing, right? So what do people expect you to like steam into a bar and shoulder charge them?
Throw things around and all that, but yeah, it's funny. So they just get a 80-minute snapshot of you, and they just make an assumption of what you're like privately, and it's.
I'd love that, Moz, if you just your entrance to every bar that you went in, you just ran in and high shots.
Banging everyone.
Yeah, that would be so good.
Or dealing with like a supermarket checkout person, like, come on, hey.
But he has to get a run up like that 2003 run up, just a big rangy run up down a supermarket aisle, fuming. That would be something.
That's where most of us get our bread from, John. Not you.
What? Artisan, overpriced bakery.
Or what time do you get up to bake your croissants?
Exactly.
4.
It's a competition, James. Everything is a competition. I just wanted to talk about a former colleague of ours, on the topic of people, hard times. Bryn Hargreaves, so memorial match on the 16th of November to commemorate his life. Such a sad story, man.
Yeah, really sad. I didn't know him personally, but I know he had a great career with Wigan and St Helens, and I'm actually putting the boots on. I'm going to have a.
Are you having a run?
I'm having a run around for Bryn, and it's. I think it's your duty, really. As rugby league comrades to celebrate his life. So I'll be running around. I won't be doing a repeat of the first test.
12 seconds.
No, I'll leave that one. But no, I'm looking forward. As I say, it'll be a great celebration.
Yeah, it was sad. He was such an interesting guy, wasn't he, Jammer?
He was.
He was. So it's a time to remember. I think in light of Remembrance Day and stuff, people who you played with, and for me, losing a guy who you shared a bond with like that at such an unnatural time, was the hardest thing.
Wilco, it's hard to talk about a mate who's no longer with us, but I think, like, obviously what we're here talking about, like, it'll never leave his family or his friends. There'll be no answers. And look, I know we're on a podcast, but just don't. If you ever think about it, just don't fucking do it. Get the fucking help. You deserve it. Like, no matter how shitty the situation is, there's enough resources out there to to slowly but surely make things better.
Yeah, and that's where Movember can help.
Yeah.
If anybody has a friend or you are somebody who's suffering, reach out to Movember.com. There's an unbelievable amount of resources, and Movember do some unbelievable things in this country.
And you know what? Sorry, Wilco, I just didn't like we look at what we did, and Moz, you spoke there about how people perceive us, but like, I've been through my own struggles with mental health, and knowing what it's like to be feeling lost, knowing situations are coming up, how I should and shouldn't behave, and behaving in that way, and like impulse control, all the things that you think, well, Jamie, you did this in your rugby career, like what's wrong with you? Well, it doesn't discriminate, like, and it took a fair bit of persuasion for me to go to a doctor and get the help, but like,
do you still see somebody now?
Yeah,
Jamie?
absolutely, I do. Yeah, I still take medication and see a therapist, or weekly or fortnightly, and it just helps, and it's just a normal part of.
It's not
life.
taboo, is it?
Well, you know what? Can I be honest with you? I don't give a fuck if it is.
No,
because I get it.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Like, I am who I am.
Yeah.
I get help, and if you don't like it, or if you think anything about me, tell me to my face, and we'll see what we'll do. And or I just don't care.
Yeah. I suppose to Tuera Nickau. So Tuera Nickau obviously had a lot of tragedy in his life, and therapy saved his life. Actually just going and talking through things that are so deeply ingrained in yourself that you very rarely say them out loud. Just saying them out loud to somebody can often be the starting point to understanding yourself. So we got to last time out on the podcast, we had Gareth Ellis, who's an overthinker, and we had Luke Gale, who didn't think about anything other than butterflies and rainbows. And I sense it's a very similar situation this week. On the couch, we've got James Graham at one side and Moz at probably different angles of it. But that's what we said last week, is the fascinating thing about sport is the people it brings together who would unlikely, be in the same room together, and that's sometimes the beauty of sport. But it's an interesting time of year, Remembrance Day, the Ashes is on. It's just a game. It's not war. It's not a battle. And I think the overriding message from this podcast is James's sort of deep-rooted emotional feelings about, if you do have trouble, to reach out, and Movember.com is the place for you for all of those resources. I'd like to thank you, Adrian Morley. Excited about the second test?
Yep, really excited. Yeah, I'm taking me
hospitality.
Yeah, well,
again.
I'm taking me youngest.
What do you mean? Yeah, well.
Yeah, no comment. I will be.
I might just get the train.
Yeah.
Parking's a nightmare. I've heard about the new Everton Stadium. Say what you like about it. Brilliant. Parking's a nightmare.
Just get
so
the
we'll
train.
have to take the train all night.
The old return ticket. Only one of them gets used, doesn't it? How many times?
I've only gone and done it again.
How many times do you come home with the return ticket still in wallet? So an Uber's more palatable at 1 a.m, Moss. You'll be fine. Jammer, you're obviously working.
Well, maybe it's obvious to you, but yes, got a little bit of work on doing some work with your good self on the BBC, and I'm looking forward to a better contest.
Yeah,
from which involves both sides. That's what I'm looking forward to, and giving some of the new audience of rugby league that maybe don't quite see it on a week-to-week basis. A taste of what our game is really about.
Well, thank you, James. That was Rivalry Reignited. Join us next week, because we'll find out if it was Rivalry extinguished, because we'll know the result of the second test by then. As we've said throughout the podcast, it's supported by Movember, the moustache growing movement, all the resources that they have available. Check them out if you're ever in need, or you know somebody else in need. Thank you for joining us. We're very much looking forward to the second test match.